And I want to make an application of it as the reason I chose this. I'm not going to read all of it because it's 7 pages long. Character and principle. The North Star of our republic. I think you'll appreciate. How many of you have read this? You've seen it and you've read it. Not anyone. Okay, you'll appreciate this. Written by Diane. I'll get to the last name in a minute. Alden. In his acceptance speech on December the 13th, George W. Bush said character and principle are paramount to his future presidency. Unfortunately, the media thought he said that only unity, conciliation, and bipartisanship matter. Isn't that good? All I read was the first paragraph. I said, this sounds good. The question then becomes, is this all moot anyway? All the arguments and partisan infighting, is it all moot? Do values of character and principle count for anything in United States 2000? Or have we become a nation of little character and no principle adrift and caught in the winds of chance? A ship with no rudder and no direction. The left, that includes the press, Al Gore, the Clintons, and far too many Democrats, think that our basic principles are flexible, which means we have become relativists in matters of right and wrong, and there is no agreement any longer on what those concepts mean. We're only as good and as strong as the degree to which we can make our opinions the prevailing truth. Whether we are Republican or Democrat, do we now merely pay lip service to our guiding principles? You know what I thought about when I came to that statement about our guiding principles? I'd like to put it in a question form for us as Christians. What about assembly members or church members in general today who are merely paying lip service to Christian principles? I'll continue reading. Do these principles only mean as much as the last election, the last sound bite by political hacks and opportunists, the last foolish plan by the control freak world elite to make the state into the image of a God, spelled with a little g? From the UN to various NGOs, Planned Parenthood to Hollywood, among unthinking U.S. politicians of both parties, American principles are being decided in cold calculation that is destructive to the intentions of the founders as seen in the Bill of Rights and the Constitution. Because America is no longer sure of herself and her principles, she is open to influences that are not only destructive to liberty, but also downright evil. An evil couched in euphemisms of peace, love, brotherhood, and the environment. These are nothing but warmed over collectivist intentions, and those who believe in them will use police state methods to accomplish their ends. Folks, that's dynamite. That's dynamite. Anyone who doubts that should read UN Agenda 21 and its list of supporters. That document states that some form of coercion may be used to get compliance. And there are Americans, especially on the left, who support that document. This is not American principle. This is New World Order totalitarianism. Since the 60s in particular, America has lost confidence. And as we did, we became vulnerable to every guilt trip and every folly that came our way. From environmentalism to radical gender and identity politics, America is lost because it no longer follows its guiding principles. So it was over the years that Gramscian Marxism, political correctness, New Age, New World Order, folly have marched through our institutions and soured and destroyed our attitudes toward what constitutes liberty. The politically correct crowd, the progressives and misbegotten idealists have pushed us, Americans in favor of the Bill of Rights, into a corner. And folks, you're seeing it right now. Isn't it amusing? Bush can appoint somebody, and the Democrats start. In other words, you've got to come over our way. We're not going to come your way. You've got to make all the concessions in our direction. Isn't that what we're hearing today? They accuse conservatives of every vile and cruel aspect of human nature, from being racist and Hitlerian to being greedy and thoughtless about the poor. See, the reason this meant so much to me, because that's what I've been listening to for the last week and a half, 2 weeks. The left refuses to recognize the nature of their own beliefs and attitudes as something less than perfect. They think that they are the idealistic, moral, and therefore wise and good individuals and movement. They don't see individuals, they see groups. And that is why they are collectivist and statist. That is why, in the end, they will be the only way unless it is brought down, which all the oddities in the world, the left, which accuses the right of being totalitarian in its base and core, is more so. It has no clue, nor can it believe, that it is closer to fascism, the fascism of Hitler, than it is to the Republican and enlightened understanding of man and governance as laid down in our Bill of Rights and Constitution. I'm going to read just 2 or 3 other little short paragraphs. It's an excellent article. It should come as no surprise, then, that our leftist mainstream media hear President-elect George W. Bush calling for bipartisanship and unity, but do not hear him mention character and principle. Bipartisanship and unity is nothing but newspeak, informing conservatives and Republicans that they will have to roll over for a leftist statist agenda again. Half of America voted for Bush, and it wants to hear about principle, the Bill of Rights, and doing the right thing with the Constitution of the United States. The other half wants to hear about more stuff from government and a collectivist agenda. Thus, we are all hearing what we want to hear. Nonetheless, the problem remains that Bush will have to choose what is most important for this country. The gray center is unprincipled unity and complies with whatever the left wants or the media demand. That same media which will keep harping on GWB's legitimacy as president until he is out of office. They will demand from him a leftist agenda and demonize him when he performs and acts on conservative agenda and the people who voted for him. If George Bush and Dick Cheney pay them any mind at all, what is left of liberty and Republican values, or any notion of this country as a free nation, will be doomed. Folks, there's more just like it, but I tell you, that's a good stopping place.